Well, I guess that meeting could have been a phone call. Or could it? What I want to talk about is how people now are saying like, yeah, now we have meetings or phone calls and we don't actually have to meet in person. And meeting in person was stupid to begin with. Why we were doing that before? I told you many times it should have just made a phone call and be done with it. Well, is it true or not? And I think people do hate meetings, and they hate them for a good reason. People set up meetings left and right, and sometimes there's really no good reason to actually get together. It takes more time for everyone to get into the conference room, organize, sit down, and the information given probably could have been sent out in an email, possibly follow up with a phone call or something like that. And a big meeting really wasn't necessary. But you know what? I think in-person meetings do have their place. And the way I kind of think about it is there are people who are trying to get something done, like they're actually trying to achieve something, accomplish something. And there are other people who want to sort of cross an item off a to-do list. And if you're a person who just cares about crossing an item off to-do list because you were told that this is an item on your to-do list, well, then yeah, maybe meetings in person is a waste of time. Maybe you just want to throw the information to whoever it needs to go to and move on with your day. You don't actually care whether the information was received. And so I was thinking, like, for an internal meeting, what would be the advantages of actually having a proper in-person meeting? And things like, was everyone paying attention during the meeting, right? If you have in a Zoom meeting or if you have in a phone call, people do all kinds of stuff. Even an in-person meeting, people sit there and scroll on their phones. But when you have it like a Zoom call or just a phone call, people doing something else. They're not paying attention to what's going on. So maybe the information didn't reach the person that it needed to reach. Now, if you're doing a training session too, it could be internal training session or with the client. Again, you don't know about your participants. Are they paying attention? But also, do they have questions? You could say like, oh, does anyone have any questions? But some people would be too embarrassed to speak up. That's like a group Zoom call with a bunch of people. But when everyone's in the conference room and you're seeing somebody like, you can tell they're not really getting it. You can like ask them, hey, I see you're a little confused. Do you want me to go over that one more time? And they'll say like, maybe not say, but they maybe like nod to you like, okay, let me explain that again. You're not gonna get that over a phone call or a Zoom call. Maybe someone's got kids playing or dogs barking, so they wouldn't speak up just because they're on mute and they don't want to like disturb the meeting. So those are definitely the situations when you're doing a training and you want to make sure people who are participating, they actually got that information, they actually heard what you say, they learned something. And same thing goes for sales, right? I'm not a salesperson, but when you're going out to a client's meeting and you sit down, it's about this in-person communication. It's about learning something from the client. It's about presenting yourself, having that communication. Again, seeing the same thing. Was somebody scared to ask? Somebody was too afraid to speak up? You can give that personal attention when you're all sitting in the same room. And same deal, if somebody was in a noisy environment and they just didn't want to speak up. I think as far as sales goes, gentleman Brian Burns, the guy with the phone walking around the street, I'm sure you've seen him. He said it really well. When you go out to a client, you go into a sales meeting or a product demo, for example, that meeting isn't about demoing the product. Just like having a lunch with a client isn't about food you're going to eat. It's about the time you spend together. It's the time you get to talk and kind of understand problems and so on. But yeah, I'm still a fan of in-person meetings. We'll see how things shake out after this COVID-19 situation. But I really want to see my clients. I want to see the people I'm talking to, even if I'm going as a technical support with a salesperson or demo. I want to see the people I'm sitting down with and having more in-person conversation, explaining them problems. Anyway, agree with me, disagree with me? Do you think people who satisfied with the phone call are just the people who just want to check things off on a checklist and they don't actually care about results? Or you think I'm totally wrong? Let me know. Put it in the comment section below. We'll talk about it. See you in the next video.